Hey, you, I need you to hit the subscribe button below.
Go look at this right here. Tell me what do you see? What do you see happening here on these boards? Right? And exactly what's happening to them. Right? In the fields. Right? Slavery. There you go. Slave master being auctioned out, a whole family being auctioned out, being burnt. All that happened to us as a people. Now here's the question now. Why did these things happen to us? See, that's what they tell us. That's what they tell us. They say it's just because of the color. But here's the thing though. Here's the real truth. That's not true. It ain't just because of our skin color that these things happen to us. See, there go the question. Why? Right? You still have HOSEA? Read that for me. This is why these things happen to us as a people. Read that.
The book of Hosea, chapter 4 and verse 6.
Read.
My people are destroyed.
What God say?
My people are destroyed.
God said his people, there'll come a time that we will be destroyed. Obviously not physically because we're still here, right? But mentally, when we look at our communities, are we all people that's here with a mindset upright, or are we destroyed? Are we living as a destroyed group of people?
I go with that one.
Right? So we are a destroyed people. That's gonna tell us why. Read on.
For a lack of knowledge.
For what?
For a lack of knowledge.
Just like the officer was going over just now. Lack of knowledge. To the point where we don't even know what type of clothing belong to men. We say it doesn't matter. But that's not true. Let's say I apply for a job. Let's say I work at Publix, right? And the boss said, here's the uniform. And I go to the boss, now I show up to the first day of work. It don't matter. I'm still going to stock the shelves the same way. Am I going to keep that job?
No.
Be real. Am I going to keep that job, sis? Just like right now, you say you're on lunch break. That's your work uniform, isn't it? Yeah. So if you show up however you want to, what is your boss going to say to you? Go what? Go home. I don't need you here. Now, here's the question now. If God is the boss of all bosses, he gave us an attire or a uniform, and we say it doesn't matter.
Bring it out.
How do you think he's going to fire you? Hold that. Give me Zephaniah 1 and 8. Read it.
Book of Zephaniah, chapter 1 and verse 8. And it shall come to pass in the day of the Lord's sacrifice.
That's when Christ come back. In a sacrifice, what do? There's killing. So it says in that day, in the Lord's sacrifice, what's going to happen?
That I will punish the princes and the king's children.
Guess who's the princes and the king's children? They never taught us that. We actually the royal families of the earth. We are the princes and the princesses. But guess what? Have you ever seen a princess in pants? No. Like the Queen of England, the Duchess in a white net. Do you ever see them in pants? No. But God said the king's children, the princes, Zephaniah 1 and 8. There's a judgment for wearing the wrong attire. You got it? Read that.
The book of Zephaniah, chapter 1 and verse 8.
Let's go.
And it shall come to pass in the day of the Lord's sacrifice that I will punish the princes and the king's children.
Hey, boss, what's going on? Anglais ou bien créole? English? English? All right. What we out here teaching, this is Jermaine. What we teaching that these people right here are God's chosen people.
Right.
We are the Israelites according to the Bible. But the thing is, the churches and the pastors, they never taught us our heritage. Now what we're going over is the dress code that God gave his people. Right. Do you think that God gave his people a dress code that what they can and cannot wear? Huh? Okay, perfect. Jermaine, I'm gonna talk to you. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. All right, yes. Jermaine. As I was saying, as the Bible was letting us know, there will be a punishment. Like we said, if you work somewhere, they have a uniform, and you show up not wearing it, typically what would happen? You get fired, right?
I will punish the princes and the king's children.
So we're gonna see why he's gonna punish the princes and the king's children. We know that these people right here are the princes and the king's children, prince and princess of the Most High. Read.
And all all such as are clothed with strange apparel.
Read that again.
And all such as are clothed with strange apparel.
Because believe it or not, when you look at this sign right here, just come closer real quick. The women here, they're working from sun up to sundown. Are any of them in pants? But you know what the women say today? Oh, we wear the pants because it's hot. That's what they say. But you have these women here. That's what? That's in the 1800s, the 1700s, the late 1600s. These women work the field in full-blown dress. Women wasn't wearing pants till what? The late 1900s, mid 1900s with Amelia Bloomer. That's who brought pants, including what? Equality. The white women want to be equal to these white men. Guess who they pick to help them fight their battle? The black woman. So that's how the most that's how I'm gonna judge the princes and the king's children for dressing in strange apparel, because he never made it for women to be wearing pants. So now God's saying, now today we see it's popular. All the rappers are doing it. We see celebrities are doing different movie roles where they dress in what? They're cross-dressing. God never made that. That's why he said when he come back, the people who are doing that, there will be a punishment for that. And to this day, for breaking God's commandments, to this day, we're still serving out our punishment. You think slavery just happened out of the blue? No. Like besides us, what other people do we know experience these things like this? That's how we know it's an act of God. Because the Irish try to claim, they try to claim it. They say what? We've been slaves too. They come on the bottom of slave ships, pile on top of each other like this here.
Right.
Where's the sign? It's right here on that side. Thank you, appreciate it. Right here. Was this them right here? Packed like sardines? That was not them. They got paid to come here. They were given land to come here. Until this day, our people are still crying for what? They're still crying for reparations. We're still crying for 40 acre and a mule.
Chinese just got his own thing.
Did they what? So now you tell me, since we've been marching, right? We've been protesting, right? When did we ever get anything? When have they passed any laws to protect us? The so-called blacks and Hispanics and natives.
That's right.
This whole land belongs to the natives. When was the last time you came across one?
Actually, my best friend's name.
But besides that, besides your best friend, who else? Your neighbor? No. But this whole land belonged to them.
Right.
These people that did this to us, their spirit's not right. These people, God called them your enemy. That's why they did this to us. But you know whose fault it is? Go back to Hosea. I'm going to show you the reason why these things are happening to us. The reason why we have the drugs in our neighborhood. The reason why we have the prostitution. And you name it in our neighborhood. Right. You're going to see who's at fault. Is it because the white men just hate us? They're so evil? Or did we do something to deserve this? Watch this.
The book of Hosea, chapter 4 and verse 6.
Yep.
My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge.
Because the officer read that earlier, saying God's people, who are the children of Israel, God said they'll be destroyed for lack of knowledge. He went over it with you already earlier. What is that knowledge that caused us to be destroyed? What is that knowledge that we don't have, which is the reason why today we don't know our head from our ass?
Right. Oh, the commandments.
The what? The commandments. Because why? For example, give me Hebrews 13 and 4 real quick. I'm gonna ask you a quick question. Do you have a girlfriend?
Nah.
You don't have a girlfriend? Or do you have a booty call? You're not sleeping around at all? Like, have you slept around before? Have you had a girlfriend before?
Yeah.
2 years ago. Okay, now here's my next question. Are you planning on getting another girlfriend?
She come around.
If she come around? Okay, here's what I'm going to teach you. Because remember, we're going over why our people are destroyed. That's what we're going over, right? So I'm going to show you some of the things that growing up, that was never taught to us. That's why the uncle that we have, who pretty much used to sling his rocks all around the neighborhood, we learned that it's cool to jump from women to women to women. We see that in our neighborhood. The rappers, that's what they rap about. Shows you you're a man when you sow your wild oats. That's what they say, right? But let's see if God say the same thing for his people. That's what we are doing. Why are we destroyed? And we're gonna see if we kept this one law, how much that would change our neighborhood. How much that would change our community. Read that.
The book of Hebrews, chapter 13 and verse 4.
So here's my question. Does God recognize boyfriend and girlfriend?
Yeah.
You think so?
Wife.
Huh?
Man and wife.
So no, I understand that, but here's the question. You said man and wife.
Yeah.
So is that a yes, he recognizes boyfriend or girlfriend, or no, he does not recognize boyfriend or girlfriend?
Girlfriend and girlfriend?
No, boyfriend and girlfriend, sorry.
No, because you're supposed to marry.
Supposed to marry. All right, listen good, read that.
The book of Hebrews, chapter 13 and verse 4. Marriage is honorable in all.
Read that again.
Marriage is honorable in all.
What do you think that means, Jermaine? Say. Which means highly respected, right? Now let's read on.
And the bed undefiled, but whoremongers.
Meaning the bed undefiled, meaning whatever you and your wife decide to do in the bedroom, that's between y'all. As long as you're not inviting somebody else to be in the bedroom with y'all. Ain't no threesomes with the Most High. Ain't no, you can't invite another man. You can't invite another woman. As long as it's just you and your wife, God said that's highly respected. It's honorable. Read.
But whoremongers.
But who?
But whoremongers.
A whoremonger is a man who's jumping from women to women to women. He's monger. He's a monger. He's like a killmonger. Yeah. He keep killing. Same thing with a man. A man who's sleeping around. All those women that he sleeps with, those are whores in the eyes of God. Any woman who's having sex without being married, God called her a whore. And the men who's sleeping with these women, God called them a whoremonger. Read.
But whoremongers and adulterers, God will judge.
So now here's my question. Those people, adultery, someone who's sleeping outside of their marriage, how do you think God judged them? Someone who's sleeping around, jumping from woman to woman to woman.
That's sin.
Huh?
That's sin.
That's sin, right? But now give me some examples, some world examples on how God judged those kind of people for those actions. Babies come out.
Stuff like that.
You see that? So now, which community do we know is plagued with these type of things? The HIV, AIDS, herpes, the single parent household, right? The baby mama drama. Who's known for these things? Us. These people right here. Us. We're known for these things. Why? Because that one law right here, we no longer respect it. You know what's crazy? Did you know that during the time of slavery, we had a higher rate of marriage? We had a higher rate of a structured family? But today we don't. Did you know that a strong marriage, a nation that has a strong marriage, that's a strong nation? But today we don't have that. That's why we're at the bottom. And until we start changing those errors, guess what? Nothing's going to change. And you know who it starts with? It starts with you. Read on.
Look at that. Deuteronomy 28.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 61.
Just like you said, like those are the ways that God judged people who are doing these things. The diseases. Read.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 61. Also every sickness and every plague which is not written in the book of this law.
This Bible contains life in it, right? And God told us what to do if we want to live, and if we don't do it, we are asking the Most High to kill us. And guess what He uses? He said every sickness and every plague that is not written. Read on.
Them will the Lord bring upon thee.
See that? For example, can we read about AIDS in the Bible? No. Can we read about HIV, herpes, gonorrhea, and the list goes on in the Bible? But guess what? For sleeping around, all people have them. That shows what? This is a true book. Moses was writing this years ago, thousands of years ago. But today, we're living it. Why? For breaking God's commandments, we are being judged. So now here's my question to you. If you don't mind me asking, what tribe are you from? You're from the tribe of Judah. Right. So now, Jermaine, from the nation of Israel, from the tribe of Judah, all the problems we just gone over that's going on in our neighborhoods today, in our communities, how do we change it? What do we do to change that?
We get back to our commandments.
Okay, we'll get back to our commandments. Okay. Okay, so all these things you listed, that's correct. But the thing is, there is more to that. Because here's the question I have for you, right? At one point in time, we was an empire ruling the whole earth, right? What empire of nation you know, what kingdom you know doesn't have laws to govern it? For example, America, it has its own sets of laws, right? Yeah. If you go over to France, they have their own sets of laws that govern their country and their people, right? It's the same thing for us as God's people, the nation of Israel. The things that's written here, that's the laws that governs our kingdom, our nation. So now there's more than just what you listed. That's why you got to do this. Read.
The book of Zephaniah, chapter 2, verse 1. Gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired.
So God is letting us know we need to be together. We need to unite together because we as a people, we have a problem with one another. We want to be around everybody else except for our own people.
Right.
So God is starting with that first. Before we can come back and become a nation and do all these things that you just listed, because you can't do it by yourself. I'm going to tell you straight. Whatever bad habits you have now, don't think you can break it off by yourself. You might succeed for a short while, but guess what? You by yourself, there's nobody to encourage you. There's nobody to hold you accountable. Sooner or later, you're going to fall right back to the same habits. Whatsoever it may be, you can't do it by yourself. So that's why God said what?
Gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired.
So now here's a question I have for you now, Jermaine. It said, come together with your people, like-minded people, because you can't do it by yourself. For example, what is today? Do you know what today is? Today? No, today. As God's people, what are we commanded to do on a day like today? Give him praise. What does God call it in the Bible? Do you know? Okay, you call it worship, but the thing is, the pastors never taught us this because most of our people go to church on what day? Sunday. They go to church on Sunday. Do you think that's the day that God ordained when He created us? It wasn't. I'm glad you said that right. He's showing you that we need our brothers. Right. It's like all of us here, we can't do it alone. Because that's why God commanded us to be around your brothers, to be around your sisters. Right. Because what you don't know, the other man will teach you. You see what I'm saying? And not only will teach you, but he will also hold you accountable. For example, God said marriage is honorable, right? Now let's say me and you, I know you, Jermaine. We've been going to church, you know, we could come to the school, we congregate together. And I see you staring at sister so-and-so, big booty Judah down the block. Do you know what I want to say to you? Come on, man, don't look at her like that, bro. I know what you're thinking about. Come on, bro. If you're married, come on, man. You're a married dude. What you doing? But guess what? We don't have that in our communities. For example, today, God called it the Sabbath day. That's the day He ordained for us to come together and to give Him praise. And just by observing that day, that will change our communities. That will change a lot of the things that we see. Read that. Exodus.
The book of Exodus, chapter 20 and verse 8. Remember the Sabbath day.
What did God say?
Remember the Sabbath day.
God's letting us know to remember this day because He knew there'll come a time in the future we would forget. Right. And that's what happened to us. Just like you said, it wasn't taught. Our grannies didn't know, moms don't know, right? Gramps don't know. But God said, remember the Sabbath day. Now He's going to tell us how to keep the Sabbath day. Read.
To keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor.
God letting us to keep it holy, meaning to keep it separate. It's not like the other days. The activities, the things that you do on the other days, on that day, you can't do it. Like, for example, today, I know you didn't know. Okay, I know you didn't know. Like, for example, you just bought that today, right? Yeah. For example, on the Sabbath, that's a day of rest. No buying, no selling, no working. God said, you know what? Just like when He created everything, the heaven and the earth, on the 7th day, what did God do? He rested. So same thing, right? Just like any father, right? A father will do what? He'll pass down his heritage, right? He leave an heir for his a heritage for his heirs. We are God's heirs. So He give us the same things that He has. He passed them down to us. Right? So that's why He says, just like He Himself, He rested on the 7th day, He's telling us to do the same thing. Right? Read on.
6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work.
Because He give us 6 days out of the 7 days of the week to do whatsoever we need to do. Work, clean the house, cook our food, you name it. Whatsoever you need to do. You got 6 days out of 7 to do it. That's more than enough, would you say? That's plenty, right? But the 7th?
But the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work.
Because remember, God said the Sabbath day is separate, is different than the other 6 days. So in that day, you don't do what?
Thou shalt not do any work. Thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle.
So God's saying, on that day, don't do any work. You're supposed to be resting. And just we were over earlier, on that day you come together with your brothers.
Right.
You keep God's commandments. I'm going to show you why you want to come together with your brothers. SIRACH 37:12. Because on that day, that's God's day. On that day, you don't buy, you don't sell. Right? You don't buy, you don't sell on that day. You don't cook because God he let you know, prepare the day before. So from Friday sundown to Saturday sundown, that's God's Sabbath day. But the church has never taught us that. We don't know how to keep God's laws today. That's why we're so jacked up. We don't know what God requires of us. We don't know how to make God happy today. But the thing is, today, God's sending his prophets to teach you that, Jermaine. That's why you stop. That's what is for you. Read that.
The book of Sirach, chapter 37 and verse 12. But be continually with a godly man.
What did God say?
But be continually with a godly man.
Read on.
Whom thou knowest to keep the commandments of the Lord.
So God's saying, be always with a godly man. Be always with a godly man, because now he's going to tell you how you know he's a godly man. He let you know that they keep the commandments, all right?
We used to scream black power while heroin was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission. Minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold. From Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are how men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.